Hello everyone, welcome back to YK Reviews. As we wrap up the month of October, we now start reviewing the last franchise of the month, Hellraiser. So let's get into it. So with the movie Hellraiser, this came out in 1987. I'll be honest, I've seen this one a very long time ago, and this is the only one out of the franchise I've seen. I've always seen like bits and pieces here on TV, here and there, and just never got into it. But after like watching the whole series from like this original one all the way up to like the reboot of 2022, I gotta say it's a very interesting and very entertaining franchise, but some of the movies were very difficult to get through, I'll be honest with you. So let's start off with the original one, Hellraiser. And with this one directed by Clive Barker, who I believe this was based on like a novella series. And so with Hellraiser, it's basically opening up to the character of Frank Cotton. He's in Morocco. He gets introduced to this puzzle box that is basically opening up a doorway to all these otherworldly pleasures. So he goes to the attic, he solves the box, opens it up, and instantly chains come out, attaches to him, and just starts tearing his flesh. And so that's when we now get introduced to Frank Cotton's brother Larry Cotton, who is moving into the same house with his second wife Julia. And as they're like exploring the house, they're taking a look at the room, they see Frank's stuff in the room in itself, and we come to find out that Julia actually was having an affair with Larry's brother Frank during the marriage in itself. So as the movie is progressing, you see these two movers moving in the furniture. Larry's trying to help, and he cuts his hand really badly, like a big wound opens up. So he's going into the room where Frank Cotton did the whole lament configuration solving, and as he's walking in for Julia to help him, his blood starts dripping onto the floor where Frank Cotton died. And that's where you get into for me, an amazing sequence and a really great visual animation, because it's all practical effects. Like you see Frank Cotton coming back to life, and just the way it was looking and designed, I feel like it was really done for its time, because this movie was from 1987, and the way it just looked, very perfect like sequences there. So with Frank being brought back to life, that's when Julia discovers him barely surviving, barely alive, and what Frank needs from her is that for more bodies, more blood. They figured out that Larry's blood brought him back to life, so he needs more blood. So he convinces Julia to basically get him more victims, bring men home. So you have like this sequence now of like Julia going to bars, going to these places, hooking up with these men, but like that's when she tricks them, and you just see that sequences of like her killing these people, or not killing them, sorry, but like injuring them where they're barely alive, so that Frank can like take their blood and just really come back to life. And I really loved the look of like Frank, like just pure muscle, not muscles, but the way he looked, it looked like once your skin comes off, you see that muscle part of your body. He just looked like that, and I really loved the aesthetics of how he looked. So he's basically taking these blood, explaining to Julia that when he did open the lament configuration, when he opened up the puzzle box, he got sent to hell, and that's where he met the Cenobites, and the Cenobites was like torturing him, and he was able to escape. So then in one particular scene, you have Julia doing the shtick of like bringing a man home, but that's where you get Kirsty, who we got introduced to earlier, which is Larry's daughter. She catches Julia bringing a man home, so she's thinking she's going to go in there and expose her, and like, come to find out that her uncle is still alive. And I just love how that interaction between Frank and like Kirsty, it was just really well done and really funny to see. So after the interaction with Frank, she basically takes the puzzle box, throws it out the window, escapes through the house, runs out of the house with the puzzle box in her hand, and like she collapses on the street, and then she gets taken to like hospital, where she manages to also open up the lament configuration. And one thing I found confusing, because I'll be honest with you, like as much as I really enjoyed this movie, they picked and chose who got the chains, who was able to allow to go to hell. That's the only thing that like I was nitpicking in terms of, is that when you open up the box, and this is like throughout the whole franchise in itself, some people get like the chains come bursting out of them, other people just like get the gates of hell open to them, other people have like different things happening to them. Pinhead kind of just picks and chooses what happens to the people that do open up the box, because so Kirsty manages to open up the box, unlock the puzzle box, and you get this like scene of like these walls opening up apart. She's going in, and I really like the creatures. Like for me, the Cenobites and all the creatures in this movie are hands down my favorite. Like the creature with like the spider that looks like, I want to say he looks like a banana spider like creature. He starts like running after her, and then you have that scene where you like see Pinhead. And I loved Doug Bradley in all the movies that he did, no matter how bad or good the movies was. Pinhead was such an iconic character, and the way he played him was so fantastic. So Pinhead has this face-to-face with Kirsty, and she decides to make a deal with Pinhead. She basically tells him that this Frank Cotton guy has escaped from their hell, so she can lead him to them. And as I mentioned, the Cenobite in this movie are my favorites, because you've got like the big chunky one, you've got the one that's with his mouth like chattering, and you've got like the female one with like the throat opened up. As the movie franchise progresses, the Cenobites, some are very creative, which I'll get to in that particular movie review, but some of them were just lackluster and just lazy and just didn't amount to like how great these Cenobites were, especially in the third one, which we will definitely talk about. But they agree with the deal, so Kirsty goes back to the house, and that's where we find out that Frank, there's a body there that's actually believed to be Frank Cotton, but we actually come to find out that Frank has actually taken the skin of his own brother Larry. It's such a gruesome way, and so Pinhead believes this to be Frank Cotton, so they try to go after Kirsty. Kirsty's trying to escape. Frank, who's disguised as Larry, tries to go after her with Julia, only for like Frank to accidentally stab Julia and just drain her. It's like no remorse, no holding back. And so then you have Frank going after Kirsty, where he confesses that he did take his brother's skin, and that's where Pinhead and Cenobites appear, and they hear his confession. And that's when Pinhead grabs a chain and just like starts pulling Frank apart, and it was just so disturbing and very, very gruesome. But it was an amazing cinematography and great visuals. So then you see Frank Cotton just basically get ripped apart and explode right in front of Kirsty's eyes. But then Pinhead goes back on his word, doesn't agree to the deal, and so they start going after Kirsty. And what I found frustrating is with this and a lot of the movies here is that it was so easy to defeat the Cenobite's Pinhead, because basically she just kept turning the box and like putting the box back together, and by doing that the Cenobites were just getting sent back to hell basically. So it was just very easy to defeat them, like a really weak ending to the movie. So then all of them get sent back to hell, and that's when her and her boyfriend, who was there as well, they tried to burn the box when you have this skeleton demon figure come and swoop in the box, and then the cycle gets repeated with another victim as the person is trying to sell them the box. So the closing moments there. And for me, as I mentioned, I really enjoyed this movie. This I feel like was a fantastic start to the franchise, was very fun and entertaining. So I really liked this movie, and I remember watching it way back, as I mentioned, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did this time around. Like watching it now was just so fun and just so entertaining. So for me, I definitely recommend this one. It is a great movie to watch. If you have seen the movie, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought about it. If you enjoyed it, did you like it, have you ever seen it before? Let me know down in the comment section below there. The videos are going to be coming to you thick and fast as we try to get through the month of October here with the Hellraiser franchise. So just keep an eye out on the channel, hit that notification bell, subscribe, like the video so that you don't miss out on the videos coming up here. But again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening. I've done the Halloween and the Chucky movie reviews, so the playlist will be on the channel there. Check them out as well if you get the chance. But thank you so much for watching. This is Wacky Reviews. Peace.